So I'm upstairs in the main bathroom, and we are rebuilding this bathroom from the ground up after a significant demo. And here we have the piece of base trim behind what will be the toilet. And so you see I have these four shim assemblies taped to the wall. I want to describe what this is and what my method has been, because I suspect this will be the case in future rooms as we remodel this home, being that it was built in 1928. The house is settled, in which case, even though in this instance the drywall is newer drywall, this is not plaster, it's got a significant bow nevertheless. And you know what? This may be plaster. Just because I see drywall mesh tape at the bottom doesn't mean this is not original plaster and lath wall. The wall on the other side behind it, so yeah, on the other side of the privacy wall, that is lath and plaster. So I'm going to go ahead and say that yes, this is original drywall with wood, lath, and plaster, and it's bowed significantly. You can't tell, but now we're going to show you how you can tell. And before I put the piece of trim in place to glue and dry overnight, I wanted to show this method because I am certain, again, I'm going to have to come back to this technique. Now, I've watched several YouTube videos on basically how to fill a gap between the trim and a bowed wall. And so the bow here is significant. This shim here, if you look at it, would probably be at least, I'd say 3/8 of an inch, if not half an inch in the biggest place. So what I did is I just took some wood shims and I put them together like this and then dropped them behind the trim. So I'll kind of give you an idea. Here I've got the trim. I got to be careful. I don't want the glue to get on prematurely. So here I had my trim. And I'm looking and realizing, wow, that gap there is big. I mean, I can put my, finger there. And that's a lot more than caulk will do, or even backer rod and caulk and wood filler or any sort of compound. I need to have something more structural. So that's why I have this shim idea. And to be clear, I'm not a trim carpenter. I'm not a plumber. I'm not any of those things. I'm a do-it-yourself dad, figuring it out as I go. And so this may be a technique that already exists that I've stumbled upon, or just meets some unusual technique, but in the bottom line is it works. So what I did is I took these shims and kind of like so, I know that if I put them together like this, the more that I bring them together like this, I could get a thicker, fill a thicker void, or I can fill a thinner void. And so all I have to do really is drop those behind here, which I did. I'll try to go this side over here. And I was able to figure out, how high to pull the top one and the back one. Well, then I took some painter's tape, and I taped them to the wall. Of course, I had longer pieces, but I was able to tape this to the wall, make a line, and then after I pulled it out, I simply took a utility knife, and I was able to cut below the line. That way I have space below the line for my caulk, and I cut them down. After I cut them down, and I'm going to take this trim out so you can see. After I cut them down, I located it on the wall, and then I'm going to take this one apart so you can see. I really just glued them together like a little ice cream sandwich. So there you go. This one's already stuck pretty good. But you can see in there, I put a little bead of construction glue there. So I've got those sandwiched, and then I'll just pull this off the wall. You can see I put some glue on the back. And so I have it located right here where I need it. And then I have this little strip of tape here.
just to keep it in position. Then I put a bead of construction glue on top of it. And so what I'm going to do now is I've already got my trim board pre-cut and pre-painted, so I'm pretty confident with that. And now I'm just going to set this right into its place. And that trim board is going to stay there. I will end up taking some like paint cans or something so that there's nice firm pressure overnight and letting that dry. But the whole point behind this video is, first, I'll probably be the only one that watches this. It will remind me what I did so I can copy it and perhaps even learn with better success for later. But the whole point I wanted to show you is, you'll notice that now I have a drywall or excuse me, plaster to wood contact. So when I drive a brad nail through this, I'm not going to have this gap here where this trim could get pressed in and out with pressure or time. It's going to be nice and tight, and it's not going to be able to be moved because there's actually wood shims behind there giving it stability. I don't have my drywall square handy. I'll just use this shim, but I did actually check to make sure that I was square. So you can see that's pretty square there, the trim piece that is with the floor. So I know I'm perpendicular and my 90-degree angle is good. And so now I'm just going to continue dry fitting this trim around. And the tutorials I've watched up to date, I'll get my mixture of filler and I'll be able to fill this gap in here. I probably will put backer rod in here because, as you can see, I mean, that's as thick as my finger. That's a big gap. So I'll put some backer rod down in there, and then after that is complete, I will make my thin set mix, my setting compound that is, get that in there and then start to build it up until I can eventually just caulk it smooth. It'll be perfect. Thanks.